All right.
So yeah, man. Silent Power, episode 3. Doing the thing.
So yeah, no coffee today.
Oh yes. I've been oh yeah, you're no coffee for you either,
Yeah.
I guess, huh?
Yes, that's coffee.
Oh, that is coffee.
Yeah, that is coffee.
I was confused by
just-
the label. My bad.
It's just a virgin coconut oil.
Yeah.
Like last week at the church, I had water in it. And when I go, was like, "What are you drinking?" Well, it's just water. I'm just drinking.
I'm just drinking
It's a jar, you know.
Yeah, that's funny. You should do it with like a laundry detergent bucket. It just really trip people out.
Yeah.
Soap.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah,
I'm just drinking water.
Yeah.
It's fine.
yeah. I'm not gonna make good friends this way.
It's,
People are gonna freak out. And be like,
hey, you'll make just the right friends.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so.
But yeah, I've been I go back and forth between doing caffeine and no caffeine, and right now it's like 12 days of no caffeine. And the only reason on my end is just to help with sleep when I'm sleepless.
Yeah.
But it's funny, and maybe you could weigh in on this. I've been caffeine free, but I still have some days where I'm only sleeping like 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Is that when you don't drink coffee or when you?
Yeah, right now when I'm not drinking coffee. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I don't get it,
you
man.
sleep good though.
I sleep okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, last night was like 5 hours. I think, tell me if this is affecting it.
Yeah.
I ate really late last night.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, he's like, yep.
100%.
Yeah, because I got home at like
Especially if your
8:30.
body is not used to it.
Yeah. I was eating at like 9:30 at night.
Yeah.
Fell asleep at like 10:15. So
Yeah.
that's pretty bad, right?
And then you wake up maybe at 4, 3.
Yeah, exactly. I woke up at 4:20 today.
Yeah.
And I've had my alarm set for 6:30. So
Right.
it's like, dang, man, again.
Yeah.
So when would you recommend eating dinner? Like how much time before bedtime?
The ideal way would be maybe 4 hours before. Yeah.
Okay.
You really want to go to bed almost fasting.
Yes, that makes sense.
I mean, when your digestion has started already,
Yes.
and it's kind of like on second half of it.
Right.
And because it's easy to fall asleep even though you're like digesting food.
Right.
But somehow at the end of it, it just wakes you up somehow. It's kind of a weird thing.
Yeah, well, it's doing a lot of work, man. I mean, it's all automatic, but your body is like working overtime when it's digesting food. Yeah. And
so yeah, I think the best way, if you go to sleep around 10 p.m.
Yeah, that's pretty much me.
8 around 6. You know?
Yeah. That makes sense right there.
Yeah. I know most people, we do things, in the evening. We maybe do a social gathering. The one thing for me, for instance, like I would go go to a run club.
Right.
And the meeting is at 7 p.m. And it's right like before. I couldn't eat before. There's no way I can eat and run
before.
After.
Oh, I hate that.
Especially in the evening.
I'm not down with that. Yeah. So what do you do?
So we just eat after.
Yeah, it's just kind of late.
And you're gonna eat like super light.
Yeah, you do what you can.
Yeah. So you just adapt.
Right.
The thing that works the best, I think for me, was eating just oatmeal.
Yeah.
In the evening.
Oh, that's interesting.
For me, it's easy to digest. Some reason.
I was thinking that as a breakfast food.
It is breakfast food.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I do that too. But in the evening, if I gotta eat late, and I feel like I need to get something before bed,
Yeah, you're like still hungry.
Yeah, because if you do like a run, it's like, kind of a. You can do it without it.
Right.
But oatmeal with like a banana. Banana is great for like relaxing your shoulders.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Muscles.
Yes. You think it's like the potassium or it's just the whole thing? Yeah, but no, I've heard that it relaxes you for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I've even heard that like boiling a banana and then like letting the water like cool down and just making that like a tea is really good.
Yeah, it is.
So
basically, 5 or 6 p.m. and if you can eat
Eat.
around that time
Yeah.
and go to bed around 9, 10 p.m.
I was doing a double whammy then. So not only was I eating late, but like dinner, dinner was my biggest meal.
Yeah.
You know, that was like my big, huge one. So I think you just solved my problem, Will. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Of course. I mean, everybody's very different too, in a way where it depends how you want to start the following day as well.
Yeah.
If you start later on in the day, like if you got to wake up at 7 a.m. and you start your work at 9, something like that, you
Yeah.
still got time to process and to wake up, it's fine. But if you, again, it's for me, most of the time, I need to get up early enough and not to feel like so drowsy or like so sleepy.
Right.
Because I feel way more sleepy when I eat late at night.
You're right, and that was the other thing. That's why it felt like so gnarly for me each morning. Was I was still really drowsy, and I was like, okay, clearly I didn't sleep enough, and like it's like 3:30 in the morning, and I'm really, really tired, but I just woke up. So, well, there you go. Cool.
Yeah.
And I love the feeling. You mentioned running with the running group. I love the feeling of just what your brain feels like after a run or after an exercise of any kind.
Yeah.
Goggins said it jokingly, but I like pondered it for a while. But he's like, "Oh yeah, my morning cup of coffee. That's running for me. That's a 10-mile run for me." Yeah. And at first, I laugh it off. I'm like, Goggins is hardcore like that. But I'm thinking, no, brain chemical wise, it totally is. Yeah. It's completely.
I would love to know more about. Maybe I should read his book. I never read his book.
Can't Hurt Me.
I gotta check it out.
Dude, it's very, very good.
Can't Hurt Me. I heard so many good things. I've been watching all this
the interviews
and podcasts and everything like that. So I know he's a storyteller pretty well. But
yeah, he goes very into detail.
I think about him when I. It's funny, right? I think about him when I wake up and I feel so tired, and he's like, I still do it anyway.
He stares at his shoes.
So yeah,
he's like, damn, I gotta do it again.
Right? So I would say maybe 60% of the time, maybe 65% of the time, I find the willpower or whatever it is to go over it and then take over my mindset and go out,
get
run
started. That's the hardest part. It's that kindling to the fire.
But I wonder what his evening routine is like. I know he meditates for like an hour or two and do some stretching.
He stretches for 2 hours.
But I wonder what time does he go to sleep, bed, and what time does he eat as well,
Right.
That's something I got to check it out.
Yeah, I'm sure it was different in all different phases of his life because during Bud's training he's probably getting 1 hour of sleep maximum for but yeah, that's a good question because he spends so much time stretching and all of that, and he hates to do all of that, by the way. He does not enjoy it. Anyone who's been almost 300 pounds twice in their life doesn't like to do all that stuff. But yeah, he's mentioned also in a podcast that he gets 8 hours of sleep.
Wow.
So I wonder, maybe sometimes he might wake up at 3, sometimes different.
Yeah, if I get 8 hours of sleep every night consistently, I'd be good. I think this is my sweet spot where I'm like, I get up in the morning. I don't wake up too early. I don't know what time you wake up.
Yeah, get your sleep.
Yeah. But for me, it's like 6 a.m.
Yeah.
That's when I'm good. I'm wide awake.
It's reasonable because that's like right, I would say either before or during where the sun rises.
Yeah.
And I think Andrew Huberman was talking about how impactful sunlight is when it gets into your eyes. And that's like the natural thing that wakes you right up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's because it's weird. I was doing like the 8 a.m. go to bed, 8 p.m. go to bed, 4 a.m. wake up.
Yeah.
And it was great productivity wise, but I was just in the dark for so long. Yeah. It was so weird.
Yeah.
So I had to have all these, the house lights on, fake lights and everything. Mm-hmm. So I'm like,
Yeah.
So, but I love what exercise does for the brain.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite books that I constantly keep rereading over and over is called Spark by John Rady. Have you heard of this book?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, so it's I think he's still alive. I hope he's still alive. He's knows a lot. He's a neuroscientist, and he studies all different things about the psychological and the physical and the mental effects of exercise on the mind.
Right.
And one of the examples that I just love, like watching documentaries on, is Naperville. There was I think it was a middle school, either middle school or a high school, but they had mandatory zero period PE for everyone every day. And the test results when they did like state testing and all of that were absolutely peak.
Yeah.
And that's not nothing.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So, and if you think about it, the reason why we have a brain is to move the body.
Yes.
We're not necessarily our mind, we're us, and we have our brain and we have our body,
Yeah.
But this is to control all of this. And if this is moving, then this is happy.
Yes.
And it's also focused. So I just think there's so much incredible takeaway. And
what's the title of the book again?
Spark. Exclamation mark.
Is that book start with the study to do with the kids at school?
Yeah.
So you were talking about that, but is that the one where they may have them running in the morning?
Yes.
As soon as they get home at school, they go for like a mile or something?
Yeah, that's right. They run the mile.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think I read that.
It's so profound.
It's crazy, yeah, because the results on these kids' exams after, it's tremendous.
It's crazy, man.
Like the way they would focus would be maybe like, it's exponentially like higher. I won't exaggerate, maybe like 5 times higher in terms of concentration.
Right. And then if you do that like regularly, man, just compounding, this habit, this good habit, it's like you're unstoppable from such a simple little thing.
Yeah.
So.
But there's so many studies like shows how working out, training develops your brain.
Right.
For real. And you got better way of thinking, you're more calm, and all that stuff that you can benefit from. There is like zero reason for you not to train or work out, not use your body.
Do whatever you can.
With at least some resistance. I mean, we're not gonna start. We can talk about this for like hours, of course.
Yeah. You don't have to bodybuild in the morning, but man, just a little mixture of everything. Whatever you could fit in there, even if it's a 5-minute jump rope. Oh my God.
Yeah, just that.
What I like to picture is I think Dr. Wendy Suzuki said this during a TED Talk, and I love the visual of it. But when you're doing exercise, it's like your brain is getting a bubble bath, just like rinsing itself down with BDNF, brain-derived neurotropic factor, which is like, as John Rady says, fertilizer for the brain.
Wow.
That is powerful. Yeah. No matter who you are, that
big mixture you create in your brain is like make it all the synapses to connect to each other easily, right?
Fire and wire together.
Way like easier.
Yeah, and as you do things over and over, it gets easier. Like getting stronger with anything, it gets easier to do.
Yeah.
And it's crazy that your own brain makes it.
Yeah.
It's not like it's getting it from an outside source or food, really. I mean, you get good stuff from food and water, but this thing comes from itself.
Yeah.
Just from moving around.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. So lace up those sneakers or those sandals if you're like me.
Yeah.
With the 0 barefoot sandals. And so in that book, each chapter is on a different subject matter, whether it be anxiety, depression, ADHD, anything that basically doctors are prescribing pills for.
Right.
The author of the book describes exercise as a combination of Prozac and Ritalin. Helps you focus, helps you stay happy. Oh my God.
Yeah. And the additional factor I think we know now, it's your muscles secrete this hormone of happiness somehow,
Right,
where it makes
right.
you feel good and it combat depression.
Forget if it's like serotonin or
I think
dopamine.
it's not this hormones there. I think it's something because very recent study that showed that.
Right,
I don't know the name of it.
right. But
It's crazy thing that you just by your muscles are actually like an indicator of how happy you can be and how well balanced your hormones are.
right.
Which is
Oh, hormones.
crazy.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yes, yes, yeah, yeah. You're completely right, man.
yeah.
And I've heard that, like for testosterone and everything, it's good to do leg day because leg muscles, your quads, your hamstrings are huge.
Yeah.
Your quads are the biggest muscles you have. So if you do that, yes, it's good for all your
Because
hormones.
if you have strong muscles, it means you have strong, healthy bones.
Yeah,
You cannot get strong and have weak bones.
right. It's all relative.
Bones are like very much where the muscles are attached themselves, so they need to be like very strong bones.
That's right.
And
It made me feel very good the other day when we did a lift or a workout,
Yeah.
and you were like, "You got good bone density, man.
Yeah.
That means your muscles will grow." I'm
Yeah.
like, "Yay,
Yeah.
that's good news."
now 100%. And the crazy thing about muscles, especially like leg strength, and it's two things: leg strength, and then strength of grip strength.
Yes,
These are two factors, two indicators of longevity. Like life
that's important.
longevity, which is crazy. Like if you work these two things here, your brain's gonna work better,
Yeah,
take care of your body better. Everything's balanced, and then you live longer and happier.
right. Yeah, you don't just live longer; you live longer well.
Yeah.
But that's that grip strength. You're right. And I remember this statistic from a study, and I was able to do it. So if you can do at least 40 push-ups in a row or more,
Yeah.
then you have 96% less risk of heart disease.
Boom.
I was able to crank out 40 push-ups the other day. So
There you
I'm
go.
like, hey, I'm going to live.
Way to do it. That's
So, yeah, man. So, I mean, that's so crazy. Exercise and, just being mindful of movement is just a fix for so many things.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, 100%.
And it's all do what you can. You don't have to do stuff at the extremity of Goggins. He even says, like, don't do what, you don't have to do what I do, but do better than you normally do.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Whatever's relative in your normal lifestyle.
It's a different way of working out. I think it's these ways like how to stretch my mind
Right.
as much as possible.
Yeah.
Over than the strength or physical abilities is how can I really get beyond my limitations, like my belief system,
Right.
and go beyond that. All right, I'm
Becomes a
exhausted.
philosophy.
Yeah, I'm exhausted now. How can I keep going? How can I utilize my mind that would utilize my body to push myself and go beyond what I can do, and wake up the next day being able to say like I've done way better than
Yeah,
before.
feel good about
So
it.
now I'm familiar with this, so I can like keep moving.
Yeah, you're right though,
forward.
stretching the limits and it's always the limits of your mind, well before the limits of your body.
Yeah.
And he talks about the 40% rule, and you can always do a lot more than you think.
Yeah.
Your mind, and that's a really interesting thing that I want to bring up is which has happened to me before when I get really, really fatigued from a run, is a little anxiousness, a little anxiety.
Right. Yeah.
And sometimes I call it anxiety because when I see a really long road ahead of me, or if you're public speaking, you see a huge crowd of people, or even, I'm a skateboarder, I love skateboarding. When you see like a daunting set of stairs, it's all what you're seeing, that triggers this anxiety response, and you got to tap into the feeling, that's touch sensation part of it again.
Yeah.
So
that brings like the fact that you see that thing.
Yes.
Like
triggers
anxiety.
Yeah. So you got to figure out, it's just another brain thing.
Okay, so very, very good point here. I think how do you manage this? What would be your methodology or your
Yeah,
strategy for that?
well, you got to get out of your eyes. I mean, you can. I mean, it might be awkward if you're presenting, or even if you're running to like close your eyes. But if you're at a place where you can just in your mind take the focus off of what you're seeing, and just tap into what you're listening to,
Yeah.
or take a breath. How are you feeling? How does your whole rest of your body feel? But we get so locked into what our eyes are seeing. I think we're in a very seeing culture, with our phones and stuff. Everything is very, very visual.
Yeah.
So I think if you're able to pull yourself out of looking so much and just stay on task, stay focused on what's going to get you landing the trick in skateboarding, getting through the presentation when speaking. For skateboarding, you just have to go for it. You have to jump, if you want to jump off your board a couple times as you're approaching the big set of stairs and just get through it, fall on your butt, fall on your feet, just go through that. You have to figure out how to convince your mind that it's not so bad because your eyes are just spooking you. Your brain is too good at being very protective.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
It does a great job for that.
It does too good of a job.
Yeah, too good of a job.
Yeah. So
well, that's why we is that our brain or our mind?
That's right. That's a good question. So it could be our brain, it could be our mind, it could be a third thing, could be us. It's hard to put an exact definition on mind versus us, but the brain is just the muscle that controls the whole system here. But the mind could be like the anxiety or the depression or anything else. The kind of the brakes.
My take on
the mind and
how
the brain.
To differentiate mind, brain, and us.
Yeah.
So the brain would be the hardware.
Right.
So it's programmed to be working by itself when the mind is involved in it.
Right.
So basically, the mind would be the software, and
you gotta update it sometimes.
Yeah, well, every day, bro.
I see.
So
from a computer standpoint, okay, so you got the hardware is the brain, and the softwares that you put to make everything work is your mind.
Your brain is a processor.
Processor, right.
And the mind is the software used to run the processor.
Right.
That you put in the processor, that the processor is used to run.
Yeah. And are you the user?
Yeah, and we are the user.
Yeah.
And a crazy thing I heard about, I think it was last week, is the awareness. The fact that our awareness keeps going without the brain, so that it shows that the brain, we don't need the brain to run to be us.
Right.
Which is a crazy thing. And then the way that they realize this is for having like
traumas or
near-death experiences like when they die and then come back.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing that happened is like they monitored that the brain when people would die.
Right.
At that point, the brain shuts down. Nothing's working anymore.
Right.
But people come back and can express things that they experienced while the brain was down.
Wow. They still recall it.
Still, yeah. They recall, and then this can.
And they know they were dead.
Yeah. So a lot of studies were like trying to show that that's just the brain figuring stuff out. Still like in a weird like background running.
Right.
Process.
Yeah.
But really, they did some surgery where the brain is completely not functioning at all.
Right.
And people still sense things. Like they ask questions to people, but like, did you hear anything during this surgery? Did you remember anything? Or almost 50% of people do.
Wow.
And do something crazy is like 7% of these people remember hearing people around them.
Yeah, well, they're pretty much unconscious or dead, essentially.
During the brain wasn't working at all.
Oh my God. So
and some people even like remember like everything. They remember what was happening, what people would do, and stuff like that. And the brain wasn't working at all. So this is how we are now understanding that the awareness is completely detached from our physical body.
Right. Wow. So you can still, I mean, even if your brain is shut down, you still have senses that are kind of working a little bit. The sense of,
Yeah,
hearing,
yeah,
for goodness
yeah,
sakes, and,
yeah. So
sense of touch.
yeah, so we fairly understand that now we don't rely on the brain or the physical body to experience life.
Right.
So that means that it put out a question of like, what's the afterlife? What's
That's
happening?
so
Do we
crazy.
actually die? And more and more research shows that there's no way we actually can die. Like it
Right.
would just be like going from one state to another.
Yeah, there's different stages of
Yeah,
it. It's not like, I mean, maybe your body's boom, you're dead,
yeah,
but yeah, there's other parts of it. Wow, that must be freaky at times, I imagine.
yeah. You can like do some research, and so many people have so many
So
testimonies.
many stories, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
it's crazy, and then
Yeah.
these people like they're genuine, and then other people like they express the same thing, the same thought process of what happened.
Right, right. The guy that I always keep mentioning, Stuart Wilde, he mentioned that not through any surgery or any trauma, but because of how hard he can go deep, he can go into trance.
Yeah.
He has like had like 6 or 7 like near death experiences
Wow.
where he was pretty much in that state
Yeah.
and came back.
Yeah, what if body just kind of shut down?
Yeah, and I guess would that be something sort of like your out of body life experience?
Yeah.
Typically, that's
Yeah.
essentially what that is, which must be crazy.
Have you tried that or?
No, I haven't. I don't know how to get into a trance that deep,
Yeah.
but I've just listened to State of Metronome and just seen stuff as I had my eyes closed, which is really, really cool. I've seen some very cool things.
Yeah.
But that sounds so crazy, and I can't imagine like being like in the sky looking down at yourself or being somewhere outside of your body, out of your mind. It's like that's pretty deep.
And I think these things we need to know we need to be open to them, like all this knowledge now, and then don't think too much about, that's my take, but don't think too much about what we actually think the truth is.
Right.
We need to be open and actually utilize this, their lives, to be more open for anything, if you have some trauma you want to work on, just use this, get some, information about how things work and what's possible, actually, what people went through,
Right.
and just do that for yourself and do that for good things,
Yeah. Do what for good things? The trance,
for changing yourself for better.
Yes, exactly.
And that's
we're always
to
learning.
me, it's also, again, it's very I think personal belief, but it's very deeply linked to spirituality.
Yeah.
And it just explains that for me that God exists.
Oh yeah.
And then we can really have a real relationship with God.
The spirit is way too strong to die.
Oh yeah. Well,
the body dies, but
I think exactly. The spirit doesn't die.
Right.
It's just a spirit. And
Yeah.
it lives for, I think, forever.
Yep. Do you believe in reincarnation or I don't
know about this.
Yeah.
I'm not. I used to think that we go through different lives.
Right.
I'm not sure anymore. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I do. I strongly take care of my relationship with the spirit.
Yeah, that's good.
I mean, you know me, guys.
Right, and yeah, exactly, and it goes back to kind of what you were saying. It's like we never fully know. It's always good to have the questions. Answers are obviously very, very important for everything. It's important to have answers to some of your big problems, but questions are the thing that make the earth keep spinning.
Yeah,
it contributes to the everlasting dance of the universe.
Yeah,
I read this comic strip one time where it was this guy, he looked really alien looking. He had like a big eyeball for a head. But he had this shoebox, and he was like talking to it, giggling, kind of laughing, like, "What? You don't say? Oh my goodness!" And then he looked very aristocratic. This big gentleman sat down next to him and said, "Oh, what you got there?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, this is just my collection of questions." And he's like, "Oh wow, that's cute. I have a huge stack of answers at home." And the guy was like, "Oh, whatever. I guess that's cool."
Yeah.
He's like, "What do you mean whatever? I guess that's cool. He's like, yeah, answers are fine, but this is everything right here. And so that's essentially the message of the comic strip. But it got me thinking for.
Yeah. What age were you when you read that?
I was in college, and I think I was either 20 or 21. So that just blew my mind.
Yeah. Well, it's as human beings, that's what all we should be doing is be and ask questions.
Ask all the questions.
And then study the answers.
Yeah.
And then whatever you tend to believe in, that's why I feel like to relate to the Bible, I think the Bible is just for us to question the world.
Yes.
It gives us answers, but we need to
keep questioning.
Yeah, we gotta go dive deep in, and to read them,
right,
books again and again, to always get deeper understanding of it.
Right, you always go back to it, getting different messages, different information.
Yeah,
that's so powerful, and that's why I keep reading books over and over again. I always keep going back to Spark and The Slight Edge and the Stuart Wilde books and stuff, because there's more than that first glance.
Yeah.
And other books I like. So I like the Marie Kondo and all the minimalist topics and stuff. That's a huge part of who I've become, is very, very deeply invested in everything minimalism, because just the simplicity is very attractive.
Yeah.
You take your iPhone. Well, it used to have one button. Now it has 0 buttons. Yeah. Actually, it's got the volume. Okay, it's got 3 buttons. Sorry. but it's very, very simplistic. It's very, very minimal.
Yeah.
And everyone, pretty much rebranded that design on their own.
Yeah.
But besides that, there's something so incredible about going home and not having too much clutter anywhere. It feels like a sacred space.
Yeah. It's like taking care of your brain. It's like
exactly.
if you can space, if you make space in your brain by this is something I did recently about, like a technique.
Okay, tell me.
Where, well, I would be bothered by something, or maybe like a person who I don't want to relate anymore,
right,
myself anymore to. But that person will stay in my thought process,
right,
and I would be like, I don't want to have this person anymore. So I'm basically using NLP. I think that's what it is.
NLP, right.
Where I would just picture this person in my brain, actually really in my brain. I don't do it with my eyes, I see it.
Yeah.
I just kind of live it.
Right.
So I feel it in my brain, and that person would there and would be like, okay, now we're gonna delete the picture of this person.
Right.
And I see it in my brain, and just if I could press a button and it disappears. And so by doing this, or you can actually make, do some cleaning.
Right.
Clean around.
You could. I think I love that. I like how you're using the computer as an analogy for a lot of this. That's so brilliant. I think of it as a garage.
Yeah.
My mind is a garage, and you actually have to go into your garage and organize it sometimes. And you got to take old dusty stuff and broken stuff out.
Yeah.
And those broken things could be people that, made you feel bad, or when you think about them, you get pissed off.
There's no reason for them to be here anymore.
Exactly. So you just gotta.
And the same way, if you do that, get rid of the things, the people, or circumstances, or even I think emotions.
Yeah.
You can make a picture, put a picture on an emotion, and be like, okay, we don't need that. Sink away, sink.
That's very deep, man. I love that. Else. Yeah. Take that emotion,
or,
just put it in the trash.
Set them on fire, or make it dust.
Or give it to a friend. No, I'm kidding. Here you go.
Did you get the one that I sent you last night? No.
Nope.
Good. Good. That means you got a good antivirus.
Yeah. It didn't get past my wall.
My wall.
That's so funny.
So,
but that is so profound, man. I love the idea of visually having them there, and just discarding them. And what's kind of great about that too is, you know, that's one version of them that you've experienced, where they, you know, either were annoying or they upset you, or, you know, for rightful reason they did something bad.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that, like, in the future, if you see them again, it's actually really good, because you'll kind of get a fresh new start on them. And a lot of people do grow up and become better, and the next time you see them, it's always cool, because everyone grows up, man.
Yeah, sure.
If someone did something crappy or said something insulting to you when you were 15, of course, be mad at them then, and then go in your computer, delete that folder. Doesn't exist. And if you do see them again, brand new person.
Yeah.
It's all good, and you can start over. That's, man, that's powerful.
And the same way, you can do what? You can do new things. You can put new things in your brain.
Exactly. Yeah.
What
Don't
about,
let that
what
stuff
about
occupy.
me? Yeah. What about me doing something new that I love? You know.
Right.
I don't know, if you love, you want to go like on a beautiful trip.
Yeah.
Put that trip in your brain.
Duplicate it, man.
Put that. Yeah. Create that little
copy paste
vacation of yours you always dream of, or doing something that you love, you know, like, or a job that you love, something like that, a passion, whatever.
Bookmark it.
Bookmark,
and make it the wallpaper.
Yeah.
You
and
know.
create that image in your brain, and then that's the same way you were talking about your apartments. If you clean your apartment, keep it clean and spacious and everything, it's not cluttered, and you got space to put things that you actually like in.
It's exactly a reflection of your mind.
Yeah.
I feel. And you don't need clutter in there. You don't need too much stuff. If you want a lot of stuff, I mean, you know, do you and take care of that. But you know, the other side of, like, minimalism and why it's so great is if there's stuff that you haven't used in a while that other people can use, like clothing or furniture, you know, do you know how happy you can make someone so easily? You know, I just gave away 2 dressers, and it is a win-win. I have to say it again. It is a win-win-win-win-win situation, because I'm liberated to have my space and everything, and also I made people really, really happy.
Yeah.
With fresh, free furniture. It's like,
it's awesome.
Yeah.
People need it. You don't need it.
I don't need it. Yeah, exactly. I have much fewer clothes and fewer belongings now. So it's been a beautiful journey, and I'll likely start a YouTube channel on that. You know, I'm talking about my experience with all of that. So that'll be really, really fun thing to document. And besides the you know, getting the extra space, it's nice to I physically feel light when I have less stuff. And I like light furniture that you can fold and put away neatly. That's the good stuff. My futon bed, I can turn it into a sofa if I want. You know,
I have any posters on your walls? Or?
Yeah, I still have all my walls still have a bunch of stuff on them, which is cool. You know, it's not, but you know, I'll there's a lot that I definitely want to keep too. That's super sentimental.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
You know,
that's one thing I recently did is I got rid of some stuff.
Yeah. How'd it feel?
Even it felt weird, but even that thing I made, I drew, and I put in it was framed on my wall, and I was like, it's not me anymore.
Right.
I want to have, the thing is, like, you see it all the time, and that becomes part of your thing.
Well, it's in your mind. It's part of your what's going on in here. It's a reflection.
And so it was like, I'm gonna put that in a closet, and you know, I don't want to have it anymore.
Right.
So I would just replace it with that nice picture of like somewhere. I want to go.
Exactly.
You know,
something that's more relevant to the will right now.
Of now.
Yeah, and it's beautiful these days. You can take a picture of stuff. So I take, you know, anything that was like, let's say, you know, a T-shirt I got from middle school.
Yeah.
I take all the pictures of it in, you know, front and back and everything, and then just donate it. It's not like it fits me. It's not like it's going to serve me any purpose, really, you know, but I have the memory. And honestly, the memory this is important. The memory is never in the object. It's in the mind. So yes, I still remember all the stuff that I gave away. Do I, you know, miss it and regret getting rid of it? Nah.
Never do.
Never do. I don't think about it nearly enough.
I think it should be a something we do at least once a year, if not two.
Oh yeah, twice a year is pretty good.
Just get rid of stuff.
Yep.
And because if we get into the habit of keeping things, collecting things, we just project ourselves in these things, and these things,
They're limiting.
yeah, but they also like take control over us.
Yes,
They
exactly.
steal our power because we give them so much power, but just like, oh, I care so much about the little thing.
Right. And if you focus so much care into something, just think about if you lose it, it would be devastating versus, I haven't needed it for a long time. It's been out of my mind for a while.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. I mean, it's really, really sad to bring up, but we had a lot of these fires in Los Angeles, and a lot of people lost a lot of precious stuff. But you think about, okay, there's some things that you might you had them, and you remember them, and it's sad to lose it, but you don't need your A+ homework from 4th grade. I keep mine on the refrigerator. No, I'm joking.
Well,
but
think about this. It's like when we die, what happens to that? Nobody cares about it.
And you can't take it with you.
You can't take it with you. I think unless these things really impacted at least your community,
Right.
or the city you live in, or maybe the country you live in, these things doesn't matter. If that was something to represent you as the person you were when you were living here,
Yeah.
and you passed away, and people remember you as someone who did something great for the community or for the city or whatever.
Right.
It's good to have this, maybe that thing that represents you for that reason. Other than that, that car that you bought, in 1985, and
Yeah.
you keep it because you had so many great experiences, but there's zero impact on everybody else's life.
Right. It's a little selfish.
It doesn't
at that
matter.
point. Yeah,
You
exactly.
can keep it. It's cool. I mean,
Sure.
You can do it whatever you want. But if that's something that prevents you from being, feeling more free,
We have
freer,
we have to enjoy the new versions of ourselves.
Yeah.
And if we have the versions of ourselves that keep hanging on to stuff, it's still going to be a new version of yourself, but you're reminiscing heavily on the past.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to enjoy in the present, and there's a lot to look forward to in the future.
For real.
And it's a fun journey, and it's especially fun to give stuff away because you can share that enjoyment. Look, I enjoyed this Game Boy more than I could possibly ever say. I want you to have it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude, that's the best. When it's fresh for somebody else.
Yeah.
That's I'm really getting the gift then. So that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
To me. And I love the journey, man. And just like you said, I don't regret. I don't feel like I'm losing anything.
Yeah.
And I love the space of it all. And I definitely don't miss stubbing my toe on my sofa or on my bed. Ooh,
I know.
So it's been cool.
Do you realize this? This is funny too, because as you get rid of things, this is happening less and less, like stepping your toes some places.
Exactly.
It's very interesting, right?
Yeah.
It's like you're more aware of your space when you have less things around you too.
Right.
So because there's less, I say, like it's simpler.
Yes.
And everything is simpler. You move in a way that makes more sense for your body to move around your space, and then just don't have to like move this way or do this or do what I mean.
Here's a fun experiment for anyone who's not sure if they have too much stuff or not. Wake up one morning, put a blindfold on, and just go about your morning.
Yeah.
It does two things. One, you build trust in yourself, so it's a very, very cool spiritual journey to just put a blindfold on. And it's going to take way longer to do everything. You got to feel where the doorway is, where's the kitchen sink, where's the bathroom, but if you have too much stuff, you're going to know it right away.
That's true.
So that's a fun one to do. But besides that, if you have stuff, like, hey, enjoy it.
reminds me of on when I go to bed.
Yeah.
Or like if I wake up during the night, I go to the bathroom, come back, and then it's like completely dark. But I know exactly where my bed is
Yeah.
and where it ends and where the wall is. And I have only this one light. I have pretty much nothing in my bedroom. I have this one light I just step on just to like, turn it off.
Perfect.
I know for some reason if I know where my bed is and where the wall is, I know exactly where that thing is. Like just like
You're good.
it's all black, pitch black.
Pitch black.
Boom, I step
Middle of
on
the
it,
night.
and then I know where it is.
It's like, yep, okay, that's where that is. I know where I am now.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, and it's building trust in yourself and in your place that you live at.
Yeah.
Because it's fun to just have a simple space.
Yeah.
There's such serenity when I come home. It's like,
Yeah.
I can move around here. I could sit there.
Yeah.
I could move. I like move my, my little pieces of movable furniture. I move them around every other day. My bed's going to be in this room today. My bed's going to be over in this room, this corner today. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
And I have a projector. I do have my TV still. For now, but I have my projector, which has just been a blast because I could watch TV on the ceiling, I could watch it on this wall, I could watch it on that wall. Everything is just so fun about being able to move stuff around. I feel like I have a new house every day.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
It's so cool.
Yeah. And if you want to travel, I mean, that's simple.
One day, I feel like I want to buy a pretty big house.
Yeah.
With nothing in it.
Oh yeah, dude, I'm with you there.
just to use it as a like event.
Yeah.
Space,
just an event space.
Family, friends, and
yeah,
to get big dinners.
Yeah, come on, everyone. Okay, you might need to bring a table and the chair, and it's like, dude, that's simple for people.
You can have it just a little bit,
Yeah.
But other than that, everything's got to be pretty empty.
Right. I mean, that's so nice, though, because you can make it whatever you want. If it's going to be someone's anniversary, you can get the projector and a bunch of chairs and just project the whole show for everyone, for your family, for your friends, for someone at your work, whatever.
Yep.
The possibilities are endless. And to me, it's just like having a smartphone. It's got one button or 0 buttons on it, but it's got this app store with limitless potential. And you could turn your phone into whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
You have a place with few objects. You can turn that into whatever you want it to be. The possibilities are endless. So minimalism is very attractive to me.
It's a way of life.
It is, man. It's the way.
For sure.
Yes.
Awesome.
So, should we ponder anything today?
Do you have any questions in mind?
Let's see. What would you, just for everyone to think about, and this doesn't have to be the physical realm of getting rid of actual stuff. There's also digital minimalism, and there's all this. What are you going to declutter sometime today or this week? Is it going to be something on your computer? Is it going to be on your phone? Is it going to be in your house? Is it going to be in your mind? What are you going to try to declutter today?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think everybody can think of something, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Whether it's your apartment or your house or your car.
Yeah.
Get rid of some little things, rest in your car.
Exactly. And on top of that, what do you want to, you don't have to replace anything, but what do you want to do with this new space? Do you want it to just be space, or do you want to have one thing that has a bunch of functions to it?
Yeah.
What is that for you?
And I'm going to complete your question with, how do you feel after you've done that?
Very good. I love that.
In your brain, in your mind, how does that feel?
How does that feel after you've decluttered and you've reshaped your reality?
Yeah.
How does it feel?
Great question. Should we answer this question next time?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's take care of that next time. Yeah.
Should we
let's think about it for today.
Yeah. Anybody's watching now, let's give us your answers in the comment section below. And if you want to, and then we do the same thing here.
Yeah.
We just have take a little note. I think it's a good idea to do, right?
Yeah, it sounds so fun.
Yeah.
I'm on board with that. So you got homework.
Yeah.
But it's fun homework, and it's life-changing homework. It's been really fun and life-changing for me.
Awesome. Cool. On that note, let's just wrap it up.
Sounds good.
Cool, bro.
Peace out, everybody.
Peace
Have
out.
a beautiful day.
Don't forget to like the video.
Yes,
And
subscribe.
see you guys next week.
Ciao.